Greetings, Geeks, and welcome to episode 407. I am Rob, Commander Taco Malda, and I am here today with three people. Well, two people, three people. I'm really mad today. Fun to join me.
Hey.
Hi. Every time you do the opening to it, I just want how much I want to singing 3, 2, 1 contact theme song every time, and I think only once actually started doing it. So I really think I get credit behaving appropriately.
The basic thing that humans are expected to do.
I'm not that you're in a camp where you can criticize people doing the basic do miss.
I this.
You don't you're doing what you're supposed to. So
Fair enough. My apologies to the people who are watching this. We are getting about the audio is coming through, so whatever. Minimize the window and listen to our dulcet. I have a couple of nerdy things on the list, with really technical things, which I'm more thinking about for Nate and for Chris. But there is a really neat article who figured out a way to hack the CGA video graphics adapter from the early 80s, notorious for its 4 awesome colors. He figured 4 colors. You are interested in making technology do never intended.
I like that choice of color. Yeah.
Did it? There's a, you know how the Apple that has the weird color fringing on the old 2s. All right, wrong crowd. Which is also M, which is sort of an obfuscated C version of the worst possible ways to exit Vim, because there's no wrong way to do it, and all wrong ways, and it's kind of amazing.
I didn't see that. Which way?
Well, my favorite was that they the name of the process, killing the process, but my on the list was literally you can kill Vim by the quit Vim command was killing a random process. It'll work.
It's like the inverse of infinite monkeys and infinite typewriters.
You guys know about the Rob sort of?
Yes, you have, but I don't remember what you told me.
Right,
I filed that.
Sort was actually in the first I used to demonstrate an algorithm. In another class, I animated class to demonstrate use of graphics, but for several days on the most powerful Spark station in the Hope College computer network. To list of numbers theoretically not in order, switches any 2 of them, checks to see if the whole thing is done.
You put that on the blockchain. That seems like graphics.
You know what? I don't know if it was Stedging's graphics class, because he did a 3D class. I think.
Yeah.
This was the class where Nate and I wrote a display room so you could actually do smooth animation on a Spark. And then we ported old graph libraries over from monochrome so that they could do 256 colors. Very productive during those sessions.
EGA loaders is EGA was 256, wasn't it?
EGA was 16.
Oh,
CGA
was 256.
VGA was 256.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see. You got an RPG thing?
Playing at TV. It all came towards the end of last year. Sales web. AtomRPG is unforgiving. If you took a and you made it through and you would have AtomRPG. It is highly enjoyable. With a finish that, and
That's encouraging.
And back the time and energy.
Well, if you can't make it past the rats, the tentacled bears are going to kick your ass.
I think there might be tentacled bears. I'm only like maybe a third of the way through it or so at this point, but
it's only a matter of time before the RNG decides to give you bears and tentacles together at last.
It is something I've been waiting for a long time, and I'm pretty excited about it. So I think you should stop judging me. But it reminds me, the rule set reminds me in some ways of like playing an automated Rollmaster, which is probably the best way to play the Rollmaster gaming system, where you don't actually have to figure out what dice to roll, and it all does all of it for you. Huge amount of different skills and everything associated with it that you can be talky, but yeah, you actually have to care about like your food and water. You get irradiated, and one of the ways you can tell that this is a game made by Russian software houses, the only way to remove your rads is drinking vodka. So you spend a considerable amount of the game trying to get vodka, make vodka, find more vodka.
Respect that. It's just like real life. It's a documentary at this point.
I was kind of surprised I didn't have Peter Sagal come and do the voiceover work for it. I thought he'd really nailed this whole nuclear fallout USSR thing. So
you think he's got a monopoly?
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that I'm open for voice work. I think I could rock that job. That's not true. That's not true. There's nothing I hate more than the sound of my own voice.
But the voice work is for other people. It's voice work doesn't mean you have to then listen to yourself afterwards.
Yeah,
that's true. I like that.
You could also audition not for people, but for like rats.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Be the voice of the rats.
I could make very good death noises for a variety of creatures. You roll the RNG, and okay, it's the squid shark, and it's got laser eyes. All right,
bears with tentacles is fine. Squid shark is ridiculous. I think instead we need to make a spin-off podcast, which is that Malda joins a community theater production.
Sure.
And we can do a documentary on it.
How about we just do Foley improv, where we play public domain clips and try to do Foley over top of it?
Yeah, every day it's 20 minutes of impromptu monster noises. Well, maybe not every day. We'd get burned out.
Yeah, maybe not every day.
Speaking of monster movies, can I rewatch Dracula? Do you remember?
The new Dracula on that.
Is it a lady?
A lady.
Oh, good.
In this for these more. I gotta tell you, the first. You don't know the story.
Like the
you
real
wouldn't know. No. You at the main character of Elspeth. It's actually pretty good, and it's a neat spin. is so ridiculous that it may be the ridiculous thing I have ever seen.
All right.
It's almost worth watching so that when the third episode happens, you can stop the 20 times the stuff you're like, what? Like for instance, the first two episodes are played just like you'd expect Bram Stoker's Dracula. And I'll give you one spoiler. In the third episode, which takes place in the future,
Oh, good.
Dracula is let out of scientific lawyer. It is the rails that you'll stop it and think, what? What is happening?
All right, so if watching,
Wait, was his Johnny Cochran? Because that would be. Wait,
No.
Johnny Cochran.
Chewbacca defense.
It's where the I can't think of the name of the guy in, no, and the guy who is his minion and is in the
Oh,
think of his last name for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But it's that guy. They make him a lawyer in this version.
This morning, Rob, I watched a movie called Final Findings. Talked about this.
Last time?
About this
I don't think.
movie I've ever seen. It's right there with the. This one, next level horror.
All right.
And like my tolerance for bad movie, for the intentionally bad movies, I don't know. It lands in a place that is just unbelievable to watch. I highly.
Yeah.
It might be the entertaining thing that I've seen this decade.
Is that bad that it's the most entertaining thing you've seen in a week and a half?
Yeah.
All right. Accepted. I urge you just so you can see that and be amazed at how far jump the shark.
I'm asking less of you because this movie's only an hour and a half long, and I'm guessing that however this is, I'm in for more.
I said the first two episodes of Dracula. I mean, it's Dracula, right? They're not breaking much new ground, painting, and they kind of add a couple neat spins to the story.
Sure.
And then it goes so far off the rails that that can't even describe it.
It's in a
There's a book series I was several thousand years in the future, and one of the characters is like the artist, and they refer to Dracula a number of times in there because theological records they think that he's who has blood, which I found to be a side. I mean, 4,000 or 5,000 years in the history, a fragmentary record. Dracula and blood a lot. He must be
actually are coming to a lot of popular culture of Futurama, which is really weird. Like, they don't understand that the character of Zap Brannigan is kind of like a parody of Captain. Like he's an stereotype of the and they don't understand that. And that throughout the show, they are making pop culture references that you have no basis for in the source material. You go to the Hall of Presidents, and they're like, "Who's that guy?" And I'm like, "Well, that's Ronald Reagan." You know what I mean? No same pop culture way that we do, and they're learning it by way of training.
That is new as long as that is a description. And
I was actually commenting on it's very new. Watched the first episode ever of Futurama live as a like before we were what do I got on the list? It's been a rough week. There's oh god, there's no good movies coming out this weekend either. I'm bummed.
No, there's no good movies. CES is stupid. Remains stupid.
Right there. We got TVs that you can roll up now, but they probably spy on you. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
Technology, man.
very realistic looking assistants.
I thought those were weird, but I didn't like. It seemed like those were two completely unrelated pieces of technology that they glued together just to be interesting.
I don't know what you're referring to.
Yeah.
They had an AI thing,
So
and
they announced that they had made a. Yeah, they announced that they made a breakthrough AI thing, which turned out to be they're like, but they don't really know anything. They're just like real people. They're not connected to the internet, so they have, no wealth of knowledge to draw from. But they look real. I thought, what an interesting cut. We've made these things. They look real, and they're just like people. They're stupid.
Look,
so I'm not really sure what they were trying to accomplish.
Isn't that every NPC in every video game?
That's pretty.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the end game was, other than just to grab headlines by putting in groundbreaking AI in the title.
I do feel like that was a startup generated by like a generator, like an idea generator, a Perl script that just mashed together words until they thought, yeah, we could probably make a press release about that.
Right.
I always like to imagine someone printing out like a word cloud and then throwing darts at it and then being like, okay, we are an IoT assistant ear pod. Yeah, that's what we do now. All right, ready, go. Yeah.
Yep. They opened up the old marketing bingo hopper, gave it a stir, and pulled out 4 balls, and then strung together the words that came out and made a project.
Yeah, that's great. CES really does seem to bring out the best ideas and the best companies.
I don't know that we never went to CES, right? We went to like
COMDEX
and other stuff a lot, but I don't think we ever went to CES.
No, because it was a little bit earlier, so it was like right after when school was starting and things like that, and it was always kind of interesting, but also like, I
think it probably had more to do with the fact that our biggest advertisers were going to be present at COMDEX and not at CES.
After 1999.
I think we might have done one COMDEX.
Yeah, and I think that was the one you got the and we came back from Chicago.
And I nearly died driving back from Chicago.
Yeah, you were pretty sick.
I remember we were driving down the highway. I think Potter was driving, but I honestly don't remember. We were listening to like Steve Miller. We could turn the steering, not drive. So nauseous.
That
was the same show behind it. Most of the show yelling at the booth across the microphones were too loud.
Yes.
Yeah. We were chill.
It's strange that they don't use that Steve Miller band to cure nausea.
Right?
I think ad come good, really nauseous.
But you can't other time for genre. in this scenario.
I'm a big ELO.
You have no idea how many people owe their rights to Foghat.
The drug epidemic. Winger can't compete.
Winger can't compete. Truer words have never been spoken.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. See, yeah. There's about that is iterative than the things that I are.
Well, it's most target audience right there. The target really is to get whatever thing on the news,
Yeah.
so that they can sell, X number of these products or whatever.
It's
Or
their
generate
time.
hype behind it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's their time to get free advertising by having a, at least show up or something.
They got to squeeze
Right.
that in because between the Olympics and the election, any more time for the mainstream media to listen to these chuckleheads that want to buy Kate.
Hella expensive going into the summer and fall.
It's crazy to me that the TV, we talk about, we're going to give guidance for our or whatever. That's a big. It's not. They actually have 4-year cycles. The Olympics are historic for those stations.
If only the good hosts.
Fine.
Boom.
Whoa.
About to have Chris Bone is
A metal arm.
No, I'm not getting a metal arm, but I am having. So, what happened when I fell is I actually cracked a little piece of bone off my labrum,
Yeah.
or the labrum off my bone. And everyone describes it with a golf metaphor. It's like a tee for a golf ball, and part of it broke off, so the golf ball wants to fall off. Which happened yesterday morning when I went to go close my car door, and I pulled my arm out of the socket
Again.
again. So they're going to go in. They're going to make sure that the labrum is intact, and they're going to move the bone fragment back where it belongs, and they're going to pack my shoulder. And they're saying I should be okay to ski, although carefully.
Since you only dislocated your arm twice in the last week, it should probably be fine.
Yeah. I mean, what could go wrong? Anyway, so I'm sitting in my car.
All right. Let's see.
Are you just going to stand there in case something bumps you and dislocates your arm again?
Yeah, it's like a hard sneeze,
Have your meals brought to you? Get a travel urinal. Oh my God.
That's called a trucker bomb, Rob.
No, it's a trucker bomb when you throw it out of the car.
Oh, all right.
You know what's funny about that? So in California, starting about 10 years ago, people stopped doing meth labs, and they did this method called shake and bake. I was friends with the sheriff in the Central Valley. And so what they would do is they would put all the chemicals they need in a 2-liter bottle, an empty 2-liter bottle. It's not like they're Dr. Pepper flavored. And then they would close it up. They would shake it in the bottle, causing the chemical reaction that would create the meth. And then they would basically pour it out of the bottle, inject it, and then they'd throw the bottle out the car door. And that's like, okay.
Are you teaching Jake how to make his own meth?
No, I don't know about this stuff, man. It sounds like a really bad idea to learn how to make meth, just for the record, for our listeners. But yeah.
For Jake. I would also like to point out that I changed the text at the bottom of the streaming video to say 4 days since last injury, and I feel like now I actually...
Yeah.
Because it's really only like a day and a half.
If OBS was better at actually doing that sort of thing, I would.
You could actually. Well, I mean,
no, I can't. But I'm not going to monkey around with that keyboard and try to carry on a conversation.
Well, I mean, that sounds like an ambition problem.
Well, I think really what we need is that Chris should delegate a no-off token for all of his medical records, and that way we can just keep this updated via script. What could possibly go wrong with that?
Yeah, maybe we can put a sensor in my shoulder that people online for their
Yes.
Really no fun. I really want to have like a button that I can press that will fall and like.
oh yeah, like Bob's hurting, give him some adrenaline, like remotely. Yeah.
I would like it if you guys had the ability to serotonin into me whenever I seemed grumpy.
You might have that too.
Happy to dislocate your shoulder and then reset it. That felt really good.
I think we've already established the greatest relief that Rob could get is us repeatedly in the face.
So a good friend of mine, a subscriber, and he's like, the face punch. So that's our third listener.
All right, we got Jake, Tom, and Elon.
Wait, is that the Tom that I met?
Tom Steinberg in London?
No.
Okay. So then no.
Was our third lady listener Elon
Wait a
Musk
second.
or Peter Thiel?
There's more than one Tom?
Which Tom did you meet, Jeff?
I think his name was, maybe it was John. I'm sorry, names like Tom and John just kind of blend into, it's like Chad, Thad, Brad, I'm all like, yeah.
It's not like Caden and Caden and Caden and Caden and Caden. I mean,
No, it's
Tom
not like
and John start with different
not
letters.
like a Jeff, two Robs, and a Chris.
At this point, we're just saints, right? I mean,
And unfortunately, Rob's the older one, so that means I get to be Rob the second.
Yeah.
I prefer to call you Rob the Minor.
Yeah. Robbius the lesser.
Roblet.
Roblet. There we go. I'm in. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, I got nothing else on my list.
Debona, you did miss me talking about AtomRPG, which you should probably check out. It's basically, it's Baldur's Gate if done by Russian software developers. And the only way to cure rads is drinking vodka. I think that's probably all you need to know about the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to drink anything after
Ever.
midnight because I turn into a gremlin. No, surgery, right? No. So the thing that I would like to talk about. So I picked up this thing called it's a company called Roli, ROLI, and they make MIDI devices and keyboards and that kind of thing. And they make something called the Sound Kit, and it's this keyboard, and I say keyboard with quotes around it, which I'd use if I didn't have one.
I've seen these.
And they're made of like silicon, and so how hard you press, if you move up or down, it's like a trackpad meets a keyboard meets goo, and it's fascinating. It's super fun, and I'm having a good time so far. So
I really love that sort of thing, and I like you're kind of in one of my wheelhouses of idle browsing, like weird custom instruments.
yeah,
I absolutely love this, but the thing that I really like is that like the Raleigh is an interesting case because it clearly descends from the traditional keyboard, so it represents the traditional,
and they have a drum pad that is actually a display and is actually gooey silicon.
Well, that's the whole thing, right?
It's so freaky. It's so
It's
cool.
like you can bend it all. It's all like mushy. It's weird.
Yeah.
I really like that sort of thing. I watching tubers monkey around with old 70s and 60s all that stuff. There's a hat for the Raspberry Pi which has got a bunch of stuff in it, and I was thinking about picking one of those up and guitar processing stuff. Which I probably will have because I use my Mac for guitar amp. And I do not have any other way to stimulate amps from the 70s.
Let me ask you something. So are
logic. It's got car simulators. I just like to play around like a song. Always,
I know yesterday. I don't know if y'all talked about it, but the eInk company came out with a full color display.
Really?
Yeah.
They've gone bankrupt.
It's got some name like Terra or Ratria or Era.
I'm
Conglomerate Altera.
Our John Joe Weed line of the pens.
This is the war crimes display. Now,
Can they make them big?
What's that?
Can they make them big?
Apparently, that's how they come, right? So they're like, yeah, I mean, the sample.
What you mean by big?
The engineering sample's like, ebook sized or a little bigger, but they show a picture of like a poster sized one, But I don't think they have very fast refresh rates.
Well, that's fine if you're just trying to use it for like,
There's very little information on how it works because ink displays are weird. They have like these magnetized little balls and they pull them through kind of a fluid of white balls. So you have like black balls being pulled back from white balls, and so you get kind of gray balls. Anyway, so
I feel like it's an Etch-a-Sketch where somebody stole the knobs.
Sure, actually, that's not a terrible analogy. I know. Or a mag. You remember the kids' toy, the mag toy, whatever, where you would draw.
Oh yeah, Magnadoodle.
Magnadoodle. Thank you. So they're like cool Magnadoodles.
Cool. All right, so eInk is just a cooler Magnadoodle.
It's a super cool Magnadoodle.
It does look good. It says, though, it's not yet commercially available. The initial target application for advanced color e-paper, ASIP, will be for digital signage applications. Is this a Japanese company?
No, it's an Asian. I think they're based. Well, it's called Primark, and then someone bought them, either Apple or Amazon. Primark, and then I don't think they moved them. I think they're sitting somewhere in either China or Korea.
You're getting feedback, Chris.
Sorry, I'll mute.
Taiwan.
Well, we're at the 32-minute mark, and I have a hard stop. So, gentlemen, I'm going to put up the goodbye sign and say farewells to all of you.
Great.
So long, farewell, Auf Wiedersehen.
Say goodnight.
You go and leave it.
I actually am not putting the slide up just so that people can watch you do your little dance, Jeff. All right, and now the slide is up because nobody wants to see that.
I was about to do my I'm 16 going on 17 dance. That's what everyone wants to see.
I want to hear Big Rob perform Edelweiss.
Well, that'll be a cold day in hell.
Well, Jake, thanks for listening, and
Tom. Thank you, Tom.
This is episode 407 of Geeks in Space. Thank you to our late joiner, Chris.
Goodbye.
Mr. Jeff Bates.
36 hours in past injury, going strong.
Hurt myself.
All right. Exist. Bye.